Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here today. My name is Denise. I'm also known as heywigsister on Instagram and Facebook. Today, we are going to rehab a wig together. I have on my head Jon Renau Eve. This is a heat-friendly style. It was gifted to me by a wig sister a long time ago. I think maybe 2 years ago, a long time ago. Back when I just wasn't doing as much of this kind of video, and now I'm ready to do some rehab. So if you want to see how I'm going to rehab this piece, it has been much loved, worn a ton, the fibers are quite dry and clumpy, then stick around because I'm going to show you how you can take steam and potentially some other methods to revive a heat-friendly wig and bring it right back to life. In a recent video I did, I showed you how to care for heat-friendly fibers. If you've not seen that video yet, I highly recommend you go watch it, and I will link it in the description. Heat-friendly fibers do require some different care than regular synthetic. They're all synthetic, but heat-friendly fibers are made just a bit differently that allows you to actually take heat to them, to restyle them if you would like. You can straighten them, you can curl them, and so there is a measure of flexibility that comes with heat-friendly fibers. Personally, I also think there's a measure of realism that comes with heat-friendly fibers. They look less shiny, and sometimes they even feel more realistic. So I think there's lots of pros to getting a heat-friendly wig, but one of the cons is that it does require special care. It does require heat to be taken to it regularly. If you take heat to it every few wears, you may not have to do a full rehab on it like I'm about to do with this one. And you might not have to take steam to it. I am going to take steam to it though today because I think it needs a little bit more help than a round brush, a hot air brush, a hairdryer maybe can deliver. Now, I want to caution you if you're new to wigs. When you take heat to a wig, you will alter the style. So if you have a curly or a wavy piece, if you do what I'm doing today, you will straighten it. You may not fully straighten it. It depends on how much heat you take to it, but you will absolutely alter the curl pattern. That is why I recommend, if you are new to wigs and you want to try heat friendly, I would start out with straight pieces. Those are much easier to care for because you don't have a curl pattern to take into consideration. Where I am in my wig journey, I'm 4 years in, but I've only really been wearing heat friendly wigs for the past maybe 18 months. I personally am not ready to care for curly and wavy pieces. I'm still feeling my way around straight pieces. So in the future, I hope to bring you a lot more information on how to care for curly and wavy pieces. I just don't have that experience personally. So if you already have a curly or wavy piece, then I would recommend you try to find some other resources because it is important that you do care for these wigs to get the most out of them. So let's talk about this piece. So this is Eve, and if you look at the stock photo of Eve, Eve has like a longer piece right here that kind of hangs down. I actually cut that off a little while ago. I just took my razor, my straight razor that I have shown in a ton of videos. I sometimes call it a razor comb, which isn't actually what it is, to show how you can trim bangs and things like that. I just trimmed that off right here because it was pretty frizzy and I just thought I would make the rehab of this a lot easier. So just in case you're wondering, well, that doesn't look like Eve. Also keep in mind, this has been worn a lot. I really don't know how long the wig sister who sent this to me had this one. I don't know how long she wore it, how often she wore it. I don't know if she took heat to it to care for it. I don't know any of those things. But it could look a little different just because it has been worn. One thing I'm noticing is it's quite clumpy, so when I kind of do this, it really wants to hold the style. This wig does not have any permatease because it has a fully hand-tied cap. I don't actually think it has any permatease. No, it's not a fully hand-tied cap. What am I saying? It's a full monotop. So it has, yeah, I'm really not seeing much in the way of permatease. So one of the things about heat-friendly fibers is they are somewhat malleable, and they do, like if you shift them around, sometimes they'll stay in place a lot better than a regular synthetic. And this one is doing that extra because it is quite in need of some care. So one of the other things I want to say, I don't want to talk too much before I show the rehab, but I think this information is super important. One other thing I want to say, and I say this in a lot of videos, how a wig feels is not necessarily how it looks. If a wig feels dry and crispy and clumpy, that doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't look realistic or it looks bad. Remember, a lot of people heavily style their hair. They put lots of product in their hair and they put hairspray in their hair. Especially if they have like a style sort of like this. What this looks like is somebody took a round brush to it to get some volume and some lift. And in order to hold that style, they probably put some thickening creams in it, maybe some mousse, you know, and then maybe sprayed it with hairspray to hold it. So just because this wig is clumpy, that doesn't mean it's not going to look realistic. A lot of people's hair is clumpy after they put a ton of product and hairspray in it. I just want to say that because I think when people are on the wig journey, they forget about some of these things, and every little thing is a dead giveaway that you're wearing a wig. When in all reality, people's bio hair acts real similar. Sometimes you'll get a lot of flyaways on a wig. Well, some people's bio hair has tons of flyaways. So really, honestly, I think you could get away with continuing to wear this piece as it is, because I think, you know, if I comb it out and I get it styled, it doesn't look bad. But it feels bad, and I know that it needs some help. And the longer you wait to take heat to your heat-friendly synthetic, the more you're going to really have to work hard to get it rehabbed and to look better. That's why it's better to try to do it every few wears. That way it's only a quick little shot with a hot air brush, no real intervention needed. So I was hoping to be able to show you how this wig feels dry and frizzy, but it really doesn't look bad. So I can't really show that to you. But I'm going to get myself set up here. I have a wig head on a tripod, a canvas head on a tripod. I have a steamer, and this is just a clothing steamer, a Rowenta clothing steamer. You can use the Jon Renau steamer. That's very, very expensive. I do have one of those, but when I am trying to get steam over a large area, I really like a clothing steamer that gives me a little bit more coverage. You can use any cheap clothing steamer. I also have a few different round brushes that I'm going to use, and I just recently purchased these off of Amazon. I'll link anything I'm using here in the description if I can. And I purchased these because they are all plastic. You see a lot of round brushes that have boar's head bristles in them. I'm not 100% positive of whether or not it's that damaging to use one of those on a wig. I did have a friend of the wig community tell me that you shouldn't use boar's head bristles on a wig. And so I just wanted to be extra safe. So I purchased these because they are all plastic. So those are the things we're going to start with. Then we're going to see how it's doing, and maybe I need to take some other methods to it, but we'll start here and see where we're at. Hang on, let me get set up. All right, I am back, and I am wearing Grow Mono, one of my all-time favorite wigs. This is in the color Saffron Red Rooted. I absolutely love this wig in this color. It's fall, so it's time for red, and I love it. All right, let's get working on this. So I have Eve on the wig stand on the head, and I have my steamer ready to go. So the first thing, now I don't have any heat protectant on this wig right now because I'm using steam. I'm not using dry heat on it, and so I'm not going to put any heat protectant. If I'm wrong about that, please leave it in the comments. I'm always looking to learn. But if I were using a hairdryer or a flat iron or something like that, I would have a heat protectant on here. But since I'm using steam, I'm not putting anything on here. And I want to just start and kind of go over and just give it a gentle steaming before I do anything with it. So I'm just going to kind of hold this over and sort of fluff it up. This will help kind of get the fibers a little bit wet, and we'll just kind of help start taming some of that frizz that's going on. I want to be careful not to steam my fingers, and don't ever do this on your head. Not even if it's just a really quick little shot to get some bangs with lift. Please don't ever do that. I've heard from wig sisters who've gotten burned doing that. Okay, so now I'm going to take my round brush and I'm just going to gently go over the fibers. Now, one thing I don't really want to do is I don't really want to fully like straighten the stick straight. So I want to be really careful. So right now I'm sort of hitting the top section because there's a lot of frizzy fibers up here and I can see them. So just kind of keeping the steam moving. One thing I'm noticing, I could barely get a comb, a wide tooth comb through this. And when I was sort of just, I don't know, practicing testing with these brushes, I could not get these brushes through these fibers. And you don't want to brush wigs anyway. Typically, especially heat-friendly wigs, you want to use a wide tooth comb. So I guess I need to give you guys that disclaimer. I'm only using these during the rehab process. I would not use a brush of any sort on heat-friendly fibers, only a wide tooth comb. But you need something more than a wide tooth comb when you're rehabbing a wig because it's just not enough, because you're trying to sort of, what happens is when you use a brush or you do sometimes with these heat-friendly fibers, they can stretch out and become misshapen. In some ways, you kind of want to stretch them out right now a little bit gently because you want to sort of seal them up. And I can already see and feel such a difference. And that's, I mean, just a couple of passes. That's definitely not enough, but I can already feel a huge difference. Now, because I don't want to have it be stick straight, one of the things I'm going to do when I'm taking steam to it, now that I can actually pass the brush through it a little bit, is I want to kind of do the round brush action. So that I'm not fully straightening it. Now, if this wig were in better shape, if it hadn't been worn so much and you were just doing your normal heat-friendly heat treatment, let's call it, you wouldn't need to go to this extreme. You would maybe just use a hot air brush. I'll pull one out for you guys and show it to you, but I have multiple videos where I talk about hot air brushes. I have one in particular where I show you the 3 hot air brushes that I currently own and explain how I use them. But just in case you're not sure what I'm talking about because you haven't seen those, I'll pull one out for you guys in a sec. But I will also link that video below. So a hot air brush is typically enough. Just a quick little couple of blasts to the ends after a few wears, depending on how long you wear it and where you wore it and all of that. But this is kind of the big guns. This is when you really need a lot more than just that type of heat. If you don't have a hot air brush, and you have a round brush and a hair dryer, you can do the same thing with a round brush and a hair dryer. For a lot of people, including me, who are styling challenged, a hot air brush is just a little bit easier because you use one hand with it. You don't need to have a brush in one hand and a hair dryer in the other. So I'm just working my way around, making sure that I'm hitting everything. I especially want to hit the ends, but because this one isn't a long wig, the ends weren't really worse than the rest of it. If it were a longer wig though, you'll find those ends start to get really, they almost look frayed, because they are. The fibers are fraying. And so that's why you want to take heat, because it sort of kind of closes up the cuticle almost. I mean, I don't think that's technically the right way to explain it, because this isn't hair, but in a sense, that's kind of what you're doing. Or like, I think I saw someone describe once, it's like you're melting the fibers, and then when they cool, they're smoother. All right. While I'm here, I'm gonna give you guys a little bit, oh, it's feeling so much better. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a tutorial about how you take steam to the front of a wig to give it lift. This one doesn't really need that because it does have some lift, but if you have a wig and it's a face flopper and you need to get some lift in the front, a steamer can be a lifesaver for that. Now, you can actually take steam to regular synthetic as well. It doesn't have to be heat friendly. And what you'll do, again, you don't do this on your head, which can be a little tricky. Sometimes you might want to start with a hair dryer and maybe spray it with a little bit of water and use a hair dryer. If it's on a heat friendly wig, you could probably use high heat. If it's a regular synthetic, I'd use low heat, and just sort of blast the front with it while holding it up. And then the key is you have to hold it where you want it until it cools. So if you're trying to get lift, you want to hold that lift on there until it cools. If you're trying to get curl, you have to find a way to keep that curl intact until it fully cools, or it won't hold it. And that's tricky. I still can't curl heat-friendly synthetics because I don't know if I don't have enough patience or what. But anyway, so if you're going to take steam, first of all, you're going to put it on your head and you're going to figure out where you want that lift. Then you're going to come over, put it on your mannequin head, and you're either going to sort of lift it up and hold the back with your fingers, or you're going to put a clip in it. And then you're just going to hit it with steam. I'll do a little bit. It doesn't really need the lift, but that's okay. I like lift on the front of a wig. So you're going to hit it with some steam. And then you're just going to hold it in place. Be cautious if you're going to use a clip, because if you clip it and then the steam gets on where that clip is, it may steam in a crimp. So just be careful. But then once it's fully cool, that's not going to be enough steam to really make that big of a difference. But once it's cool, then it should keep that lift for you. So that's how you can steam the bangs up. If you want to get some lift further back, you would just do the same thing. You would find wherever you want that lift, you would lift that area, you would steam it, and then wait for it to cool, and then you should have some lift. So that's just a quick demonstration in case you were wondering. There's lots of videos out there showing how to take steam to a wig and get lift. All right, so I just want to, it's a little damp, so I'm just trying to shake it out, get these fibers moving around. This is all a work in progress, and some people are going to be better at this than others. I am not an expert. I am not trained. I am learning just like you guys. I know how to do this because I watched videos and I talked to people and I played with my wigs and I experimented with them. So I want you guys to be encouraged that you can do this. I said it before and it's so overused, but it's so true. If I can do it, you can do it. I promise that you can. All right, let me put this on. And I'm getting a little warm, so I'm afraid this front might have some leftover it stays, make it adhere to my forehead. All right. I did not bring my wide tooth comb in here, so I'm going to break a rule. And just gently use this to sort of smooth it out here. It does feel quite a bit better. It does feel just a little bit dry in places, but nothing like it felt. And you saw how long, I did it all in real time. I did not speed it up. Now, if I wanted to, every person is going to be different. So I feel like this feels pretty good. I might not do any more right now and just kind of wait and see. You notice it didn't get stick straight because I was really careful not to. What you could do is put steam and then take just a regular comb and kind of comb down. But that's going to straighten it out a lot more, and I didn't want that. Some people would feel this and think it feels too dry for them. Other people might not have thought it was dry enough to even take heat to it like I did today. So we're all going to be a little bit different. You will have to find your way on this journey, but you can do it. And the more you practice, the better you will get at this, the less fearful you'll be, and the easier this journey will become for you. I really strongly recommend that you consider purchasing some practice wigs. Amazon is a great place to go for that. You can get really cheap wigs, and it really won't matter if they're realistic because you're going to use them to practice. If you don't shop on Amazon, you can go to eBay, you can go to Poshmark. Some of the the African American black women's hair supply stores, beauty supply stores, they have some really good prices on their wigs. Ebony Line is one, Sam's Beauty is one, and you can pick up a wig for 20 bucks, 30 bucks, and that could be something that you practice with. They don't tend to have regular synthetic though. Actually, when you look at the budget wig market, a lot of the wigs, you can see my gray hair right here. It looks funny, it's not blending. A lot of the wigs are heat friendly. So to practice with a regular synthetic, you might need to reach out to people and see if anybody has a used wig that they're thinking of throwing away that they would send to you for the cost of shipping so that you can practice. I mean, you know, there's ways to do this, but I definitely think this is a great skill to have, and I will tell you guys, I've said it before, don't be afraid of heat-friendly fibers, especially straight styles, especially shorter chin length and above styles. They're great, they're realistic, there's some beautiful styles and colors. Raquel Welch has some amazing styles. Belle Tress is so great with color. You can do this, just make sure you maintain it, and it should last you. I think if you maintain it and it's a shorter style, it's probably going to last you almost as long as a regular synthetic, if not as long. So anyway, that's it, you guys. That was what I wanted to show you. I hope that you learned something. I hope if you knew this was just encouragement for you to keep trying. I'll link everything that I can in the description in case you don't have a canvas wig head, in case you don't have a clothing steamer. Walmart is a great place to get a clothing steamer. They sell them for like $20. So definitely you don't have to purchase from Amazon, but I usually use Amazon links for two reasons. Number one, it's really easy for me. Number two, I am an affiliate. So if you purchase something on Amazon, you're helping out my channel, which I appreciate so much. I mean, you know, I buy a lot of this kind of stuff so I can test it, so I can see what works, what doesn't work. You know, I do spend quite a bit of money to bring you guys content. So if you purchase a couple of things from my Amazon links, that is just so wonderful. I don't make much. It takes a lot of purchases to really add up, but that's okay. Even $5. I mean, I think between all of these, I probably paid 10 bucks for the 3 of these total, because I think they were like 3 something a piece. You know, that's, you guys' purchases then help me pay for that. So I appreciate it so much. Thanks for watching, you guys. Let me know if you have questions. Let me know if you have content ideas, videos you'd like me to make so I can add them to the list. All right, talk to you guys soon.